Hello and welcome to our first online video lesson where we're trying to figure out stuff. This is also so we can get an idea of how you might be getting information from your teacher. So we're going to practice this a little bit. What I want you to do is write down notes on stuff I say. It's not just going to be what's on the screen. I'm also talking. That's why I'm showing my video here as well. And then you also want to write down something that you learned as well as a question that you need additional clarification on. Okay. So we're going to talk about stress management because it's something that's on all our minds right now. So motivation is one thing that we're going to be dealing with and making sure that we're being motivated to get all of our work done for this period of distance learning. Motivation can be broken up into three parts: drive, discipline, and determination. So you've got your initial drive. That's what initially could get you motivated to do something. So it's kind of the pre-thing of motivation. So if you've got a lot of drive, it encourages you to do the thing you're trying to do. Second part is discipline. So is making sure that once you use that initial drive to get started with the task that you're trying to do, that you're able to keep doing that thing. You might have the drive to sit down and put yourself in front of your classwork, but it's your discipline that's keeping you working on your classwork. And then finally, we've got determination, which is your internal persistence. So you've got the discipline to do your work, but you've got the determination to work effectively through those things where you seek out challenges to improve yourself. So discipline is making sure you're doing what you're driven to do. Determination is to improve yourself from what you're trying to do. Now, the opposite of procrastination of is the opposite of motivation is procrastination, which is something that's going to be creeping deeper and deeper. Senior slide, oh, it's already happening. Now it's going to be even more difficult now that we're doing this distance learning. So we need to figure out ways to avoid procrastination, and it's best to make sure we understand what it is because it can be pretty sneaky. So it's habitually putting off something that should be done, things that you know need to get done during that day, that at the end of the day, if that didn't happen, that you're not okay with it. So there's time wasters. Those are things that make the task you're trying to do take longer. So if you are trying to get an assignment done and you really meticulously just draw the line very carefully down the side of the paper and you really slowly start writing out your answers, like spending the time to do all of that, maybe putting all sorts of fancy colors on it. Sometimes those can be considered time wasters. That's a type of procrastination. If you're doing it because you're trying to figure out what's going on, that's great. But if you're just doing it to make the assignment that doesn't need that much time, then that's a time waster because you're working great, but could you be working faster? Could you get that task done in a quicker time so you don't have to use as much of your determination and as much of your drive in order to get that task done? You also want to watch out for replacement activities, things that you do that take the place of what you're supposed to be doing. Like, oh, sure, I've got this big test that I didn't take for science. And instead of doing that big test and preparing for that big test, I'm going to work on one little assignment that doesn't matter. Worry about that big test, get that big test done. And instead of putting that test off to later, this is the most important thing I need to do for my science class. So I'm going to worry about this big thing rather than the tiny little thing. The end. Okay. Now you're going to be sent off to reflect on this because after each one of these videos, you get to learn something and then you want to practice it. So I want you to practice this a little bit by answering the following questions. There's a link to where I want you to do that on Google Classroom. I'm going to show you where it is right now. I'm going to hop out of my presentation. So in Google Classroom, where you just found this video, so I'm going to go there again, just in case. We've got our Zoom meetings, calendar, video links, all that jazz. I'm going to put that right here just to make sure it's always on top and always easy to find. So here was the video that you just watched. That's the link for it. It's not there now because I'm making it. And then here is where you're going to answer those 2 questions. So you're going to click on this link, and then you're going to answer those 2 questions. And that's it for our video lesson. I will see you a little bit after everyone has taken care of their practice.